Title today, Action Research-Based Entrepreneurial Approach and IR 4.0 Business Success. That's what we are looking at to share in today evening. And before we go further, I think the first thing I would like to share is on blended disruptive innovation. What we mean by blended disruptive innovation. When we look at today's industry, IR 4.0 especially, and the business in the 21st century, it is very much driven by knowledge, strategy, and technology. Any kind of business which comes in now, it is very much looking into what is the knowledge behind this business, what is the strategy, and what is technology used, and is this a good product? Am I going to look am I going to benefit by using this or buying this? What is the real work done before this product is brought to the market? That is the kind of question in the youngsters today. You know, a very simple example I can share with you today. It's like the children today, when they go shopping, do they really look at the brand? Do they really look at the price? They don't. The young generation today, they kind of look at, is it comfortable to use? Is it good? What is people say about this product? Am I going to benefit from this? Is it going to be very much what I need? So the buyer's mindset is very much changing now, and they are looking at different perspective than what the market has been looking all this while. This is where action research is very much important for the entrepreneurs to come up into the market with the new product, especially with the blending of industry 4.0. So let's look at the customer trend now in the 21st century. So we really look at the customer trend in the 21st century. Customers, they are the older generation is 40% of the population, which will be 50 by it's already 50 by 2010, and now we are looking at 60% in 2025. So that's the older generation is also changing. I mean, their needs are changing. They are looking at new things, new products, new type of lifestyle, and products that going to help them to go through their life at the older age. And also quality of life, more affluent, more educated, more feminist, and fewer children, more fragmented households, and less happy. People have a lot of stress now. So what this type of consumers are looking at? Are they really looking at the same type of products which has been in the market now? Are they going to accept what we provide in the market? What we need to do to make these new consumers to accept our product? And how are we going to be very competitive with the many new countries which is coming up in the business? For example, China is flooding the market with their product. How can we be competitive with China in producing our product? What is going to happen to the countries like us, like Malaysia? It's a smaller country. How can we be competitive in the market? So this is what we are looking at, bringing in action research into the entrepreneurship in this century. How IR 4.0 can help us is actually help us to improve the efficiency. That's the first thing. Lower the cost, higher revenues, and innovation are the significant factor that we are looking at in IR 4.0. Like the video that I shared just now, has got all these 9 pillars, which how now these 9 pillars is going to help us in innovating our products, and how we're going to have this technology to bring forward our products to the customers, and said, how do I tap into this now? So therefore, the importance of understanding how Industry 4.0 will help you to see new sales opportunities and better supply chain management and optimization is the main thing that we are looking at here. Okay, next, the green economy. How green economy is going to bring in new opportunities on how do we actually capture into new this green economy to boost up our business, to bring up our product or come up with the new ideas. And when you look at green economy, the communities has been divided into few sectors here: industrial communities, touristic communities, rural and urban communities, and slum communities. So there's 4 different communities. When we come up with a product, are we looking at a general community, or are we looking at a specific community? So this is where action research will play a very important role to identify which market is the best market for my product. In time to come, in the 21st century, different communities looking at different product and different needs, especially in food. Is everybody is going to have the same type of food? Every community is going to have their own selections, their own interests, and their own needs in time to come. So here we are also looking at how do I bind the green technology with the community needs. For example, we look at green agriculture, green industry, green education, green products. What is all these green thing, and how my product going to fit into these green based industries and green based economy? So how do I know if my product is really green? So this is again where it's going to play a huge role in the action research needs. Okay, entrepreneurship. Who sees a new opportunity? Anyone who sees a new opportunity and creates a business to exploit it. So this is a person who's an entrepreneur. So when you want to be an entrepreneur, what are you really looking at? Should I have all these ideas, all these what we call it skills to be an entrepreneur? When you can look at, I have something in red, some in blue, and some in gray. So when we say people with strong people skills, confident, self-starters, creative and competitive. If I only have this skills, can I be an entrepreneur? Or I really need to be open-minded, determined, disciplined, passion, and everything else. Do I really need everything to be an entrepreneur? So this is again a challenge that I see in young people. They try to learn and try to capture everything, rather than we looking into capturing the skills to be an entrepreneur. We are really need to look at how can actually I marry the available technology, the available changes in the world into my business needs and impress the customers. So this is where we have this making of entrepreneurs. Okay, from zero, I don't know, but I like to have a business. I want to do something. I really interested in to become an entrepreneur. I don't want to be employed, and I want to have something myself and my space and being with the family and so on. So where do I start? So if you look at this from zero, I become a maker. Maker is always somebody who actually acts things, feasibility, look into feasibility, and from maker, I have something. Now, how am I going to make sure that my product is desired by others? That there is a customer for this. There's people who want to buy my product. So I'm going to switch first. This is where action research comes in. Say idea, plan, and action. So how do I do my 21st century needs analysis? So when I said action research is originally initiated for the teachers in classroom. So action research is a research initiative to solve an immediate problem or a reflective process of progressive problem solving. And it is always led by an individual working with a team or a community of practice. And it's intended to improve a way of any issues or to solve a problem. So this is what action research really about. And when I look into what can I do, how can an entrepreneur look into action research? How can I use action research as an entrepreneur? It is like you have a good idea, you think there is a market opportunity, and you yourself, a great executor, you can execute those things well, and this is going to be the business success. So here we look at first, action research initiated to solve a business problem or a reflective process of a product problem. I have a product, but this product is a problem. It's not being accepted and solved, being led by an entrepreneur working with others in a team or as part of a business practice to improve the way they address issues and solve the problems. So this, as an entrepreneur, I am looking at how can I improve my business or my product by using action research. So when I want to do that, first thing I look at the important in entrepreneurship, because it's improve the process of marketing and sales, as well as enhancing the production qualities. And it contributes to product development, the marketing information, and sales improvement. So this is where the main thing comes in. I as a newcomer to the business, I really need to make sure that my product is accepted, my product is qualities, and my product as a it can actually, how do I look at what is the best marketing strategy, how can I improve my sales. So this is where this method is going to help you. Okay, when we talk about the method, the action research based method, when you look at the first thing here I put as observing individuals or group. So we need to be very observative. We look at what are people currently using. I'm going to replace that whatever they're using now with my product. So how am I going to do this? So we do observe what they are doing, and then we try to reflect. We said, okay, now if someone is using a can to carry things, so or to pack their food, then I sit down and reflect, how can I change this? I'm going to have a lunch box now. I'm going to introduce a lunch box for them to bring their food to work. And how am I going to make them to accept? So this is a reflection that we need to by observation. And then we act on it, evaluate and modify and go into a new direction. So this is the whole cycle, how it happens. So, but the method we can use in action research is by observing, by using a audio and video tape recording, using structured and semi-structured interviews. We need to interview people. We need to know what they think and what they want, what they actually think about, using a new product rather than what are they looking at now. Taking the field notes, using analytic memory, and also using or taking photography and distributing surveys and questionnaires, and collect a lot, as much as information possible. So here researcher can also use more than one method or above to assist them in collecting rich and meaningful data. So end of the day here, what we are saying that I need to come up with a collection of data on what I'm trying to bring to the market, and try to assess my product with enough information to convince my customer, to make them feel that, yes, this product is what I wanted. This product is really giving me a comfort compared to what I'm using now. So how we going to orient the entire product introduction into the market using action research is going to be very interesting. Example here, I think it's going to be very much easier for me to introduce this using examples. So I have a very recent example. For example, now, future of tourism in a post-COVID-19 world. Now, tourism industry is one of the industry which is really, really not happening. For the last 3 months, if we really look at this particular industry, is not moving at all. And I put here, Thomas Cook, 1808, 1892, a brilliant entrepreneur from England, is seen as the inventor and thus the pioneer of commercialized mass tourism. His first all-exclusive holiday in 1841 took 571 people from Leicester to Loughborough and supplied both meals and brass music. So this is how tourism started those days, when we didn't have anything. We didn't have much. We didn't have movements, and people are moving around on tourism. So now COVID-19 has actually put us back on the same space. So how am I going to disrupt this? And how action research is going to help me in bringing back tourism to this world? And people have fear. People have a lot and lots of fear. How are we going to break up this fear? How am I going to ask people, or even encourage people to travel again. So this is going to be a very interesting exercise for many of us. How tourism going to come back, to my city, to my town, to my village, or to my country? How am I going to move this forward? So, and a little action research among some of us was interested in community. Let's assume you have a very special thing in your village, and you say this is going to be very explosive. I'm going to get people. I'm going to ensure their safety. I'm going to give them privacy. I'm going to make sure that they're really, really safe. But it's going to give them something very interesting experience, especially families with children. Children cannot go on without visiting, without moving. But how am I going to create this for them? How am I going to bring this idea? So I need to know whether my approach is going to be accepted. So what first thing I need to do, I'm going to get some very nice pictures of places in my village or in my town or in my city. And I'm going to come up with a very simple video which is going to explain what we have in our city, what people can benefit, what is the historical background of this, visiting this place, and so on. And I'm going to put it on the media, and I'm going to set a questionnaire together with that and getting people's feedback. If I offer you a tourism package, which is very, very exclusive, and I'm going to give it to you, I'm going to ensure your safety. I'm going to provide every other safety aspect, and we're going to have good social distancing. Would you want to come and visit this place? So this is how I think tourism is going to start again. So, and huge tourism companies may not be able to do this immediately. And a lot of small players with the technology that I shared earlier, IR 4.0, and also the green technology, green economy things is going to come into the. So when you excite such tourism, you're going to have a lot more things to be excited to. How are you going to say that I'm special? I'm going to provide a very good security, and I have a good sanitation and good food preparation for my customers who's going to be my tourists in my city. So you're going to excite some other, you're going to create new providers, people with new way of preparing food, packaging, and ensuring safety, some kind of certification, some kind of testing is done. So that's a lots and lots of new industry is going to come up. So, but all this new industry, new type of business, new entrepreneurial action, it is again needs a lot of action research based work, where we need to have the background, we need to have data, we need to have information to convince people to accept what we are offering them. So this is one and one particular scenario in tourism. Let's look at how action research is going to work on jewelries. All right. So I know the men, they are so excited with jewelries and how IR 4.0 is going to drive this industry. I visited Taiwan a year ago, and I visited a laboratory in a private university. And this particular university, they have one whole laboratory where they actually design jewelries using 3D printing. And they do activate, it's a mobile activated sensor and timer embedded jewelry design. They do embed all these timers and sensors which can glitter the jewelries according to the time. For example, if it's a bride is going to wear it, and they even embed this to the clothes. Yeah. So you have your wedding suit and you put it up, and the timer has been set. Your session is 7 o'clock. You appear to be blue at 7, and you be green at 7:30, and you become amber in 8 o'clock, and all those different technology has been introduced into this jewelry design. So if I'm going to bring this is popular in Taiwan, and it's becoming a very big industry in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, and also in Korea. Even in Malaysia, people start having these 3D printed jewelries interest. So, but now if we're going to introduce these to a new market in India, who's so fascinated about gold, jewelries all the while, will the younger generation accept this? And are they going to be introduced into the new technology where we're going to have artificially printed, and maybe we will have gold plated jewelries, which is now can be embedded with the sensors and timer. And this is going to be a very interesting new type of product or new type of technology that's going to be introduced in this market. So I really need some very good action research materials to be collected to test the market, to say that, okay, this is my market size, this is the type of design people would want to use, and when they want to use, what are the functions, and do they want it to be in the form of jewelry, or they want it to be as part of their clothing for their function. So we need to really explore this. We need to know exactly what is the market interest in this new introduction. So that are the different difference we're going to make when we introduce something without the background research done, information done, and we may succeed, we may not succeed. So how am I going to ensure my success? Is action research is one of the real approach that we can really look into, ensuring that I will have a minimum risk in introducing a technology or a product into the market. Right. So next is I'm here to discuss about how COVID-19 now is going to increase a lot of preventive measures in personal care. So when we come to personal care, I put up herbs, and I think you guys are very familiar with this. Yes, but how am I going to penetrate the market? How am I going to go into the market? Like in Malaysia, we now have been importing a lot of personal care products, especially the sanitation. But I've not seen anything comes from India. Most of it is coming from China and Western country. So, but we have a lot of values. We have herbs. We have many different type of traditional Ayurvedic, homeopathy, and all this. So now, how am I going to make the world to accept this? How much acceptance is going to be there? And how can we have a homemade product which go into the market and capture the market in a sizable amount? It is not always like, okay, I am having a product, I am putting it on the shelf, I am selling it. It's not, this is not the real business success. We are looking in the disruptive technology. We are looking at, okay, I'm going to monopoly the market. I'm going to really, the world market is going to look at my product. I'm going to be really significant in the personal care industry. So when we want to do such an introduction, it is very important how we're going to have our action research done. How am I going to document my materials? That is the most important thing. So when I say this now, how this is the methods. So now if I'm going to introduce my herb product as a personal care product into the market, what I'm going to do, which technique, what I really need to prepare to ensure that market really think that this is a high quality product. So we need to definitely observe individuals or groups who are using this product, and what I've done, we need to interview them. We ask them, okay, you have been using this, and what is really what is the progress, and it is not just verbally. We need some good what we call it videos or pictures or proofs that this product has made a difference in the person, and when I look at it, the as Asians, we most of the time our products are not competitive in the market, because we do not have enough materials to to support, that saying this is a very good product, that shows to the customer that how to be used. We in Malaysia, we have a lot of products from herbs. Then, but our issue is, how much am I supposed to use? How many times in a day? What is the real quantity that to be used? It comes in a powder in a box, or it comes in a powder form in a bottle, but how much am I supposed to use it? What is the dosage? Is it the same for everyone? What is the dosage for female? What is the dosage for male? Is it the same? Or how about children? The details. That is what we look at in action research, getting all those details and use analytics and to make the very structured outcome that can be that can be used to support our product marketing and bring this product to the next stage in the global market. So what I look at in most of the time in Asian market, any product that we introduce, we said it's good, it has got a high value, it has got very big impact in human, but how, when, who did it, and what is the proof, and how can I prove this, and how can I actually say this is, it's really, really true. So this is where we need to have collection of information, and this information need to be structured into, now in IR 4.0, people love videos. People love all this media type of information, and we get a lot of information. We get a lot of YouTubes, we get a lot of write-ups and all this. But how do I organize my write-ups? How do I make my write-ups recognized, meaningful? So when we do action research, we will definitely develop these materials into a very structured form. We do publish it in the right media, publish it in the right, what we call it, maybe in newspapers, a proper interview, and it has got a recognition. We need to make sure that after, action research also allow you to submit your materials to the bodies which recognize these products. So it is much easier for us to get recognition from the right bodies when you have the materials collected through action research for your product. So this is all those aspects which make this action research is a very important aspect to bring our product to the next stage. So we are now going back to our entrepreneur, making of an entrepreneur. So which stage I should do this? Is it at the maker level, or at the innovator level, or the entrepreneur level? See, if you do this at an entrepreneur level, it is a little too late, because at the entrepreneur level, we are looking at hacking the opportunities. It means I am already have a ready product and I'm going to hack the market. I am ready to go into the market and make money. That's why you see most of the supports by the VCs, venture capitalists, for the entrepreneurs, normally they will give them between 6 months to 1.5 years. 6 months to 18 months. That will be the expected time for the entrepreneur to bring the product to the market. So any funding or any investment, a VC or venture capitalist going to invest on an entrepreneur, that will be between 6 months to 18 months maximum. It's very, very unlikely for us to get more than 18 months for somebody to invest in our product. So when we are at the stage of entrepreneur, it means I have a product which is supported with all those information, and I'm ready to, at this stage, most of the time you have your product in a solid form. The money that you need is actually to mass produce it and then get it into the market for the marketing and the sale. So that is the readiness you should have when you already as an entrepreneur. So we go one step back. Say, should I do it at the innovator, or should I do it at a maker stage? See, at a maker stage, you are really looking into making the product. you are doing a disruption to the technology and producing the product. So you will not be expecting to look into the action research. So the action research should take place at innovator. Yeah, at the stage where you are an innovator, you have already been a maker, you made the thing, and now you're moving into an innovator. That's where you hack the problem. So hacking the problem and looking the feasibility and desirability, this is where the time the action research is really needed. You have a product ready, but you are not yet ready to go into commercialization. You are at a pre-commercialization, and you have normally at this level back in Malaysia, we get funded for around 10,000 ringgit Malaysian ringgit, where it is for us to come up with the pre-commercialized product, and then we do the action research and we test the market, we collect the information, and we make enough materials for our products to go into certain what the type of certification it needs. So this is where the entrepreneurs or the makers or the innovators, that's the level. At the stage of innovation, this is where action research is really will be taking part. The first thing we need to look at, we are looking at here, is the disruptive innovation, which is going to be at a maker level. And we said this needs a blend of knowledge, strategy, and technology. So when we talk about technology, we are looking into the 21st century technologies, which is the two main technology here is IR 4.0 and the green economy. So we need to look at how am I going to marry these two, green economy and IR 4.0, in strategizing my business, strategizing my product, and how am I going to blend this with the knowledge I have. So that is the important thing here. Then how, as an entrepreneur, I'm going to bring a recognition for my knowledge, which is now blended with the technology, is through the action research. So I'm here to collect all the information, all the perspective from my potential customers, and putting it in a very strategic method and presenting it to the right association or the recognizing body or the certification body to get my product certified before I am ready to move on to the last part as an entrepreneur to act the opportunity. So I think if we really move in the right direction, from our experience back in our Technopreneur research team, we practically have spinned off about 4 companies now in the last 4 years. And most of it takes around between 2 years to 3 years. And some product, especially education product, which is very much faster, it takes about 18 months maximum. We have actually spin off a company for education products in 18 months. So this is something that I thought that is a good share today for all of you to experience or to know that what are the opportunity there. How do I make my product is more acceptable in this very competitive 21st century marketplace? So this is something that I think it's going to give you a lot of information, and we can have a lot more other sharings where how do we really carry out a specific, because that's many different area, and action research is going to have many different approach. For example, in healthcare, how do I do it? How do I do it in education? How do I do it in food industry? How do I do it in tourism? How do I do it in game making industry, and so on? So that's and the approach is different. And also I realized in our team actually realized when we do a mixed crowd, it is always like we don't achieve the high impact outcome. But when we do it, it's very specific. For example, we do it for food industry, how excellent research to be carried out. Today is just outline sharing. We did not really go into how action research is really carried out in a food industry. What I'm supposed to do, how do I do it, what I'm supposed to prepare, what exactly, all those steps in detail. How do I really prepare myself from the first stage into the fifth stage, what I'm supposed to do, and how am I going to collect information, and what are the knowledge that I should have. Do I need to be a statistician to do this? What are the platforms I need? What knowledge I must have? Do I need to be an engineer to do this, or do I need to be a researcher to do this? These are many questions normally brought up to us. But my simple answer to this can be done by anyone, as long as you are motivated towards being an entrepreneur and you want to bring a product to the market. And today we have a lot of technological support and to carry out such tasks. And the very important thing we must also understand that being an entrepreneur, it is not a one person job. It is always a team and a sharing that we can always should have to feel that I need to have a team. The team can help me. I have knowledge in product, but how about the marketing? How about the technology? Like how can I do action research? How much money I need? If you ask me, we have experience. We do action research with Malaysian ringgit, 2,000 ringgit only. We just need 2,000 ringgit to do the entire thing using Google platform. We used maximum, exploited. We exploit the Google platform and also Telegram, Facebook, every other social media, and we managed to get a very good impact study on that. So how all this can happen is, again, is a good team. How I form my good team, that is another very important. For young people, it's very easy, and because they have good exposures with team members in the university or in the schools and all those learning centers. How about the middle-aged people? How about the men at home? So this again, where we actually, when we do action research, people who participate in our research is also will become our partners in a long run. We may meet people who state, okay, I can do the marketing, I can do the sales, I have this strength, and sometimes we do meet people who say, oh, these particular things you are buying, I can supply this, I can do this for you. So this is a very interesting experience when you do action research. It's not only collecting information for your production or product testing or bringing your product to next step. You also will tend to have a very good exposure in meeting people, people who are going to be your partners in future. And this is how the business to be grown, because when we look at the 21st century trend, we are not going to have big malls, we are not going to have big factories. All this is not possible with the cost which is involved. That's definitely business is going to be downsized, and business is going to be a very much what we call it, very much be done at a smaller scale. So we need the engagement between people rather than investing huge money and trying to hire them. And also the young people today, if you look at them, the trend is going down. They like to work for themselves. They love to be the boss of themselves. So how can how 4 bosses or 10 bosses can come together and make a business reality? So this is going to be the trend in future. I'm going to supply these, you're going to supply these, and this guy is going to do the marketing, that person is going to do the sales, and in this whole team is going to work as one. So this in driving such business model, action research is going to be a beautiful thing to be done in any of the products.
Is it possible for you to see the chat, or do you want me to read it?
Okay, I'm looking at this 4 questions here.
Okay.
For young entrepreneur, is this time for a good product building or marketing or expansion of business? Is the theory of IR 4.0. Okay, I'm for this I said for young entrepreneur, is this time for a good product building? Yes, there's many new opportunities. And because the lifestyle is, especially with COVID-19 now, things are really changing, and people are looking at different products, different way of life. Even how we are going back to work in Malaysia, and we think that now we don't want to eat in the cafeteria. We don't want to spend time in the cafeterias and so on. Everybody is trying to bring our own food. So when we want to bring food to office, everybody is going. It's a new trend in our country, because in Malaysia it's not a norm for us to bring food or tiffin, what you call it in India. It is not. So there will be a huge new needs in the way the food should, the container, the type of containers that we need to bring out the food, the type of food we eat, and the safety of it, that lunch bag, because life is different here. Like for me, I travel 120 kilometers a day to work, 60 to and 60 pro. So 120 kilometer traveling a day in a car, and I need all my meals to be packed now. My breakfast, my lunch, and my evening tea. Sometimes I'll be back home after dinner. So how this is going to be managed? So that's a lot of new things, new good products to come up. I always think that even there's a huge need now for frozen food. And we have very limited frozen food from India. It is almost none. So because most of our frozen food is coming from China, Korea, and Japan. And so there's a huge need for frozen food now. That's how I look at this. Okay, that's another question. A fourth industrial revolution led by artificial intelligence will restructure industries globally. So what care must be taken that inequalities in developing economies are aggravated in the process? Okay, talking about AI, artificial intelligence, it has been there in the market for a long time. See, artificial intelligence only can do certain type of automation, but it's definitely it's not going to take over the entire job market. And what if we are looking at with AI, certain processes is going to be automated, but that's a new need will be created, especially in the knowledge industry. So this is where I think I look at developing countries. The issues we have is our knowledge, we do not mature our knowledge, and we don't turn in our knowledge into money, knowledge into economy. We are practically we are learning and we have knowledge, but our knowledge is more for applied knowledge to solve day-to-day problems. But we are not looking at translating our knowledge into an asset. So with the challenge that we have with AI now, our knowledge need to be translated into asset. Especially whenever I visit India, I look at India has got a huge amount of knowledge which need to be translated into assets, which then going to be a product in the market. So this is something that we need to really look at, rather than we look that as going to take away our share in the economy. So how can we now teach our young people to translate their knowledge into money? So that's a big, huge work that we need to really look into. I have one question. Pre-COVID-19, with COVID and post-COVID, how action research will shift or transform? and what are those change in approach we expect? All right. This is a very good question, and a very current and very important, because when we said how, for example, that I really like tourism. Whenever I come to India, what attracts me most in that country is tourism, and I'm going to miss it a lot. And we have done one project earlier, action research project with Iraq in Babylonia. Because people cannot visit Babylon anymore because of that war and all this restriction they have in Iraq. So what we did a virtual reality project, which will bring Babylon history into what technology based tourism approach. So we had the entire Babylon to be videoed, and then they had a virtual reality added into it, and we introduced this in for the kids. It is like a virtual tourism. So if you ask me, this is an example. That's a lot of things can be done in India on this, and now you can come up with your virtual tourism centers. That is one huge media that you can move forward. And that's and for this, action research is very important to look at, is this a demand for this? How am I going to do it? How am I going? For India, there's already a lot of videos and movies and short stories done. But now, how are you going to get them together and put them into a very commercially acceptable tourism for people to visit? So this is where the action research is important. How your TV channels is going to come together, or your all those people who already produce these documentaries and so on, are they going to work together? Is there an interest in that? How are you going to get this industry to work with you to identify their interests? At the same time, all those technology people, are they also like to be part of this? This are where your action research is going to play a role. Of course, my example here is very huge. Maybe that's a simpler example. For example, like what I told you on frozen food, right? Idli from India. Idli is something that very healthy food. And how are you going to make frozen idlis? And I know it is there, but it's not very popular in other countries. How are we going to make it popular in other countries? Like what I say now, we need to bring our breakfast. I don't think for another year anybody who really wants to explore taking our breakfast outside, especially for children's. Parents are going to be very, very cautious about their children's eating in the cafeterias anymore in the schools. So how can I explore this? What are the factors that going to impact this business? How I'm going to find out what people really need? I've actually done this before, a competition where people came up with idli with blueberry sauce. Yeah, is it something that is people will accept in other countries? How are you going to export this? How are you going to promote this type of products out of your country? Rather than looking at we need to look at global market. Even though I know India has got a huge potential of economic growth in India among people in the country, but for you to really globally known, it is very important also to know what other countries would like to have from India. It's very important. So post-COVID is going to open a lot of and lots of opportunity. And I tell you, you should love Google and Google Form, how you can do your action research in a very simple way. You don't need to spend a lot of money. Just translate your knowledge into good questions and put it up and share it with people, and show your passion and show your true interest in humanity and human value building. I think that's going to be great support for everyone in this.
I think we have one more question. If you
Yeah.
can.
Okay. In the current scenario where companies are very careful and mindful about investing their funds and resources, how advisable it is to invest in protection of intellectual property assets, etc., registering trademark of a company's brand. Yes, this is very, very important now. I think this is a very crucial thing. Anything that we want to do now, uh, back in our team, we even do the IP filing when at the idea level, because when we take out the idea and we share it in while we are doing actual research, this is another important aspect. You shouldn't reveal too much of your idea or your product knowledge, which will give, while you're doing collecting all information, there will be someone who's also have the same understanding like you, and they actually can really capture this what you're trying to do, and maybe they have a better facility, better technology, and also funding. They can move forward very much faster than us. So filing this, I'm not very sure back in India how easy to do this, but in Malaysia now it's very easy, and we only have to pay 200 ringgit to register our trademark, and we can do it online. And also for IPs, copyrights, only patent, even patent, if I do my documentation ourselves, this is again what I told you just now, how can we translate our knowledge into assets, right? So while we are gaining knowledge, we also have to gain this type of knowledge. Entrepreneurs, they must prepare their own documents, relying on lawyers on preparing our patent documents. It's going to really cost us a bomb. So when we have an idea and we can actually put it on paper rightfully, and do our IP registering, it's very important. It is very crucial. Please do that. Even though, for example, now our 3D printer, you think why 3D printer only came in now? Because the guy who actually had the idea of 3D printer, he patented in US, and it was there for 15 years. China has to wait for 15 years until the patent duration expired. And the guy who actually patented he never developed 3D printer. He patented the idea. But yet, no one else can actually come out with 3D printer until that patent expired. So this is why the world actually waited so long, between the printer we had and 3D printer. I don't think there should be such a gap except for the patent. And this has been discussed in many, many forums. And it is a truth that the patent is actually really